Walter's half. Beware lest you lose the substance by grasping at the shadow. Aesop.
Ah, I'm so stupid. What was I thinking? It's not like I was drowning. Now my juices are boiling in this dry heat. I'm sure Whitney is looking for me. I don't deserve her. She always forgives me, even when I'm a dumb grub. Whitney, I should have stayed with you. I wanted to be brave and independent, but now I'm just looking for a hole to hide in. If I ever get back to you, I'll never leave again. I can't think straight. I've got to get out of this heat before I completely lose it. Dummies following the heat dry up if we don't get snatched up first. Mom said monsters are out there waiting to snatch me up. She told me to keep hydrated but don't drown. Stay cool but don't freeze. She told me not to chase the heat, and here I am, frying and drying. Oh. The ground trembled and the temperature dropped. Is it the Great Shade? Mom always talked about the one that saves silly slimies. Help! Get me out of this, and I'll praise you forever. I'll tell everyone about you. Just as quickly as it cooled, the heat cranks on again. So much for my faith. If I get out of here, I'll break Mom's heart, shattering her Great Shade delusions. But ooh. Ha! An entrance and it smells. What? Whitney! You're looking for me? Baby, here I come. Ooh. The cold. The earth doesn't shake, but it must be that useless shade again. No way. You had your chance to save me, but I found the way myself. August. What? Eek! It's not the shade, it's a monster. Help! Lock down. Whitney! Don't let go. I'm gripping but slipping. Ah. Mommy. Oh, what happened? I feel awful. I've never been so traumatized. I mean it, I feel really bad down where the monster grabbed me, just below the clitellum. What? Am I torn apart? Not again. Quack! What a day. Let's go home, Whitney. Nice and slow, baby. I'm weak and leaking. Later that evening, the warm ball of bodies comforts Walter. He tells his mother about his disappointment, but can't shake her faith in the shade. Whitney points out that he wouldn't have had the juice to find the entrance without the boost from the shadow, and Walter shakes his head segments, too tired to argue. As he drifts to a low-energy state, snuggling between Whitney and his mother, Walter can't help but shudder at the thought of all the teasing he's going to get. Nether region segments regenerate baby-sized.
Every morning, fresh nursing staff skip down the slope singing, while the night crew drag themselves out of the shadows and into the harsh morning light. At 700, Benson herds the strays out of the waiting room, and it's basically empty at shift change unless a preceptor forgets to warn their noob about the Q word. Never use the Q word in a sentence, implying the day is other than a hectic poop show. At 1900, night shift Morlocks dive into the hot mess while the day crew skips off to Rivendell Pub for mead and pizza in therapeutic shadow. If you can get it, the best shift is 1100 to 2300. You can sleep in, avoid heavy traffic coming and going, and get to bed around midnight. You are human instead of a zombie, and the shift differential pay is almost as good as the third shift. Allegrophobia is the fear of being late, even though the word sounds like it should be a fear of being too quick and lively. Whatever he's afraid of, ED Tech Ralph scampers from the off-site parking lot, determined to clock in 15 minutes before his shift starts. A terrible multitasker, he is trying to finish 2 paragraphs to complete a chapter in a beat-up paperback when his shoelaces trip him up near the parking garage dumpster. Once his laces are tied up tight, Ralph notices the worm squiggling on the concrete pad, with bits of dust and clay sticking to his body. The worm's movements seem desperate, with the head, or whatever you call the front part, sniffing around looking for dirt. Ralph considers sliding the worm off the edge or into an expansion joint in the concrete, but shrugs it off, remembering the circle of life, and how he doesn't want to get his hands slimy. At the crosswalk, there's a flap swoosh from one of the fire pit ravens gliding into the scene. Ralph shudders and sighs, circle of life. A Morlock in dark glasses under a wide-brimmed hat scuttles up the hill from the ED. He's dry and tired and doesn't notice dropping his ID. Ralph stoops, scoops, and turns, but the night nurse is already slipping into the shadow of the parking garage. Ralph checks the ID, RN standard, as he continues down the hill. He waves to Sergeant Phil, and they meet at the corner by the side door. "Ralphie, what you got?" Stan dropped his ID. "Can you get it to him?" "No problem, he's working tonight?" Ralph squints. "I think so." Phil smiles. "I'll just mosey down the tunnel to the old train cars before the Morlocks bed down for the day." Ralph grunt nods, turns, and pushes through the door and into shadow. My name is Douglas Revoicer. We hope you enjoyed Walter's Half from Chris P. Jackson's New Saelland Stories Baseline.